Christopher Wetzel has made a name for himself on local TV over the last few months. He's become an icon in Canfield, sitting in front of his home on Route 46 as he excitedly counts each vehicle that toots their horn for him.
692. I like to do it. I like doing it.
Why?
Because, I don't know, makes me happy, makes me happy. It makes them happy, makes them happy.
Christopher is special in so many ways, but the thing that makes this story truly special is how he ended up at the end of this driveway, how he ended up living in this home, and how he now counts cars as well as his beloved trucks.
I knew him 20 years. I knew him 20 years. I met him at a truck stop. I met him at a truck stop.
At a truck stop?
Yeah, when I was, like past 5 years old. Past 5 years old.
The him Christopher is referring to is Earl Evans, a career truck driver who has spent the last 40 years driving all over the country. And for the last 20 years, each haul brought a bit of joy thanks to Christopher.
740! 741.
It's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I would leave here, he would be on the eastbound service plaza, and I remember looking over and seeing him. You'd hear trucks blowing the horn, whatever. So then a trip or two later, I was coming back, and I kind of forgot about him, but I just pulled in there to get something to drink or take a break, and then I saw him sitting over there, so I walked over. And he used to always call you a trucker buddy. He'd be like, hey, trucker buddy, and he'd have a paper for you. He's drew this same generic truck this same generic truck since he was 10 years old. He draws that same truck. I've got him actually I have some in a scrapbook that he drew me, because he used to use a marker instead of a pen. Sometimes he'll use Crayola markers, and so he'd give me these papers, and then I would keep them. And so I started talking to him, and then he'd remember, you'd tell him who you were, and then I'd go down and talk to his mom, and I could tell they didn't have much, so I'd go down and talk to his mom, and I'd always give her money, for gas or for whatever, and talk to her for a few minutes, and then I'd say, I'll see you, buddy. Okay, buddy, and another guy had come, and so it got to be a habit.
And Earl wasn't the only truck driver who took the time to honk and to get to know Christopher.
I can remember one time in California, I was coming out of San Francisco, I think, and I heard these two guys talking. They were running together, and they were headed for Buffalo or someplace, and the guy said, hey, when you got to deliver? And he said, they told him the day, and he said, we'll probably get to see Chris, and because they were going to be going, and I said, hey, are you talking about the kid on the turnpike? And I said, yeah, Christopher. And I said, okay. I said, well, I met him, and oh yeah, we've seen him for years, and so he had this huge following. Harley Davidson motorcycle had trucks that ran back and forth from Milwaukee to York, and those guys would stop, and they actually did an article in a magazine about him. So he would see these Harley Davidson drivers, and Souder Woodworking, just a lot of companies. Guys would stop and just line up, and sometimes there'd be people waiting in line almost to see him. He'd give them a paper and go right back, and he'd sit there all day, every day and that's how it happened.
One of Christopher's many gifts is his ability to remember phone numbers, even if after only hearing it once. Earl was happy to give him his. He only called once to say thank you for a few trucker hats Earl had given him. But then one special night, Earl's phone rang one more time.
Well, then about 10 years ago on Christmas Eve, I'm sitting home, just sitting here. It was like crappy night, like 11 o'clock at night, and the phone rings, and I didn't recognize the number, and I let my answering machine get it, and he starts talking. He goes, hey buddy, and he says everything in multiples of two. Hey buddy, Christopher. It's Christopher, hey buddy. And so I picked up the phone, and I said, hey buddy, you remember me, Christopher? I said, yeah, Christopher, what are you doing? Oh, buddy. He takes these. I said, what's going on? He goes, well, I'm in a bad situation. I said, what's going on? He goes, oh, Mom's in the hospital. And I said, she is, and I'm home by myself, and I got no I got no food or nothing, whatever. And I said, there's nobody around? No, just me. And I said, well, do you want me to come and get you? I had no idea where he was. And I said, yeah, I would go with you. And I said, well, where do you live? He goes, hard to say. That's what he'll tell you when he doesn't know something, hard to say. And I said, well, give me an idea. I know you're up in Geauga County. Yeah, Main Market Road. He's Main Market. So I looked it up, and that's 422. I said, okay, what are you close to? And so he started giving me some ideas what was around him and what, I don't know, it was just divine intervention or something. I drove up 422 and found, I don't know how I found him, like at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and here he was standing outside in the garage, and he jumps. I said, come on, you want to cut? Yeah. So he had some stuff, and he bails in, and off we go. So I brought him home, and then from that point, I've had him on and off, for years and years.
As Christopher's mother's health declined, he would stay with Earl for months at a time. This past spring, Gloria passed away. Christopher now lives each day surrounded by model trucks, thanks to Earl, who has given him a model home full of love and support and kindness and markers and countless reams of paper and stuffed animals, too.
Do you love him?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't help but not to. He is so easy to be around, so vulnerable, he's just the easiest person I've ever been around.
He's a caregiver for me, a caregiver, yeah. And I spend nights with him. Yeah.
He's pretty special, huh?
Yeah.
Are you thankful for him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he's thankful for you?
Yeah. He's a good friend, yeah.